Good morning, friends. We're back. Going into Vernon today to grab some groceries, and I thought I'd take you guys along. So it's been 1 month since I was discharged from Vernon Jubilee Hospital in the emergency psychiatric unit, and what a month it's been. So just to recap, on May 4th, I was apprehended under the Mental Health Act at my place of work in Richmond, BC. That was due to a suicide attempt the night before. So on May 3rd, I went up into the forest behind my house with my shotgun with full intention of ending my life. Through whatever you want to call it, through divine intervention, or just my body telling my brain telling my body that I couldn't do it. I wasn't able to do it, thank God. The next day I told my boss what happened, and they got HR involved, who in turn got the RCMP involved, and got me the help that I solely needed. So up to that point, I had been burnt out, working 2 jobs, dealing with stress at home, extremely addicted to THC, more specifically in the vape form, which I'm pretty sure caused a lot of the mental health issues I was experiencing. So got out of the hospital, and I've been lucky enough to be granted some short-term disability from my employer. So I had 3 months off, essentially from May 14th. So I'm due back at work on August 14th. So the last month has been equal parts difficult and unbelievably awesome. When I got back, my wife was fully supportive. However, she set the rules that if you're going to be using drugs, she doesn't want any part of it, and it's going to be difficult to see my son. So I've been completely sober since that day, May 3rd, and it was a lot more difficult than I was expecting. A little bit of my backstory: I was an alcoholic for the majority of my adult life until now. Since I was about 16, 17, was drinking every single day. Got to the point where I would drink alone until I fell asleep. And I did a lot of work on the road with myself. Usually I would run project sites in remote locations, northern Alberta, northern Saskatchewan, and would go and work during the day, and then as soon as I got home, I would just drink until I fell asleep, and smoking cannabis all day long, all day at work, which didn't do me any favors. So in 2014, I quit smoking cigarettes, which was pretty difficult, especially as I continued to drink alcohol. So anyone that's quit smoking can attest to cigarettes and alcohol going together like peanut butter and jelly. It's the best. You have a beer and all you want to do is smoke a cigarette, because that's what your body's been conditioned to do forever. And that was really difficult. I had 1 relapse smoking cigarettes, and have since been 100% off of tobacco. I used, just for you guys' information, I used the patch the first time with just chewing gum, and that seemed to help. I was working a really difficult job at the time. I had just moved to Calgary, and that was really tough. That was tough, but I did it. And then in 2016, December of 2016, I decided to quit drinking alcohol. The reason I quit drinking alcohol was I realized that there was no possible way to moderate my consumption. I was a full-on or full-off sort of guy, and up until that point, I was full-on. So I would drink 6 beers in an hour, and I would feel, good. I would feel great. I would feel drunk, but I couldn't keep that up, and by the time it hit my body in full force, all I would want to do was fall asleep. So if I stayed up, I would end up being pretty obnoxious. Never violent, but yeah, pretty obnoxious. So yeah, December 31st, 2016, I quit drinking alcohol, and I have not had a drop of alcohol since. That I'm really, really proud of as well. Smoking cannabis, I was off of it since I met my wife in 2013. When I moved to Calgary at the end of 2013, I was off the cannabis. My employer, the way that we work, we follow a set of rules that allows drug testing upon an incident on site. So if an accident happens on site, or if someone has reasonable grounds to believe that you are under the influence, then they can ask for a drug test, which is just a standard litmus, the dip test. I've had a couple through my employer, a couple drug tests through my employer, and luckily I've passed all of them. I haven't had any issues. And then about this time last year, 2021 in July, I started experiencing some severe depression and anxiety. I think everything just kind of caught up with me. We had our kid in December of 2021, so I was a young father and struggling to deal with that and deal with the responsibilities that had, as well. The way my pay schedule worked, I took a salary position rather than an hourly position. That ended up dropping 30% of my gross income immediately, overnight. I went from X amount to X amount, and it was a 30% cut. There is, perks and stuff related to that, but it was huge, and it caused a lot of stress on us. So I started smoking cannabis, or ingesting cannabis, in July of 2021, and kept it from my wife. It became from a weekend thing to, both days on the weekend, to after work on the way home, I would, pop a gummy, and then it became an all-day, every-day vaporizing. Because it was so convenient, because it was so discreet, I could literally do it anywhere. And I would do it at my place of work, which is a huge, huge no-no. I would do it at home, which is obviously very, very, very terrible thing. My wife started catching on and confronted me about it. I would deny and say, it was my allergies, or it was my eyes hurt, or something like that. And she would notice, because obviously when you're doing that much cannabis, or you're ingesting that much THC, you become slower. It's just the way it is. It inhibits your brain in that way, and you can't maintain it without other people noticing. So happy to say I am off tobacco, alcohol, and THC, and I'm gonna remain that way, because through this last month I've felt fantastic. It was difficult. It was really difficult to come off of that THC. I don't know if it was the chemicals in the vaporizing, or the tips that I was getting, but it was difficult, and it became my crutch, because I was dealing with so much mental health issues and feeling that anxiety. It was really difficult to come off. So when I was in the hospital for the initial time, I was very anxious, 10 out of 10 anxious, because of coming off of that, and also because I was super scared there. It was a very intimidating situation. You're thrown into this tiny little ward in a hospital. Hospitals already make me very nervous, and when I got thrown in there, and you're looking around and everyone is suffering from some sort of either mental health issues, or drug withdrawal, or alcohol withdrawal. It turned out those people ended up being very, very great people. It changed my view and perception of mental health issues and how we treat them, as well as the people that have those mental health issues. Those people are just like me and you. They're just uncomfortable in their skin, and they want to feel better. A lot of it is due to childhood trauma. A very large amount of it is due to sexual trauma while they're children, and that's I'm trying not to curse, but that's awful, absolutely awful, worst thing ever. So kind of rambled there, but here we are. We're a month out, and I feel like I'm starting to repair the relationship with my wife, starting to repair the relationship with my son, and I'm starting to repair the relationship with myself. And I don't know if anyone's ever going to see this, but I want to let you know that it does get better, and there's always a way out. You should never feel like you have to end your life to feel relief from the feelings that you're experiencing. It's a very, very, very tough life sometimes. I feel for you guys, and I want to be that health advocate. And I want to be, supportive to people, and I'm trying to figure out how to do that. So the position that I'm in and work right now for the company that I work for is a superintendent. For those of you that aren't familiar with the construction, the superintendent for a general contractor, we connect with the client and establish the contract of the work that needs to be completed, and then as a general contractor, we provide construction management services. So what those services entail is supervision. We provide, we call it general expenses or general needs of the site. So your fencing, your toilets, we facilitate all of the trades and the organization and the coordination of those trades to complete the work to the schedule that's required, and to meet the milestones that the owner has established. So you can imagine it's a stressful position. The day-to-day operations of the site fall onto the superintendent. The superintendent is required to implement the health, safety, and environmental plan as established by the governing bodies. In this case, it's WorkSafe BC. So we're responsible for the day-to-day stuff on the site. We're also responsible for all the workers' safety on site. A lot of the times, owners come to us, or the customers come to us, and they say, I need this building by this date so I can move this tenant in and generate revenue because I've lined all this up. Sometimes that's achievable, sometimes it's absolutely not achievable, yet our job is to make it achievable. So through concessions with us and through concessions with the client, we strive to meet those goals, and there's not a lot of things that we say no to. If it's safety related, or if it's related to the procurement of materials or equipment, then we can say no, but every other way we got to figure it out. So if we got to double up our schedule, run a night shift, we'll explore that, or running 7 days a week, or a different rotation. So instead of a 5 and 2 rotation where you're working 5 days and you got 2 days off, it'd be more like a 15 and 6. And that's usually required when trades are working out of town. They're coming to us, either from Vancouver, from Calgary, or something like that. So that inherently creates a ton of stress on the superintendent to meet those dates. I'm one of those guys that cannot shut my brain off when I have an active project on the go. So you're constantly worrying about dates, you're constantly worrying about if you have an existing building that you're performing an addition onto, or say work on the roof, then, you know, we're always worried about, oh, are we going to get a rainstorm? Or, you know, have we temporarily hoarded in this roof well enough that water's not going to get in to damage any of the finishes on the existing building? Or, you know, how am I going to do this with these trades that I'm, you know, not familiar with, or, you know, have a poor performance historically? You know, this is something that I can't shut off. So talking to one of my colleagues, he's explained that he's wanting to move out of the Okanagan and move back to Alberta, where he's from, and he wants to bring his family and still work for the company, but work for the company out of Alberta and Edmonton. His position is our health and safety supervisor. So what he does is provides health, safety, and environmental consultation to all of the sites in his jurisdiction. So that would be kind of from Revelstoke all the way down to Penticton, as far out as Kamloops, and to the other way, you know, like Invermere or Golden, that sort of area. So I've always had a vested interest in health, safety, and environmental. I excel in it. My sites are usually very well run and equipped and documented in terms of health, safety, and environment. And I've been kind of racking my brain after I got out of the hospital on how am I going to help my coworkers that I know for 100% that they are struggling with their mental health. They are dealing with the exact same shit that I'm dealing with. Stress, you know, at home, at work, career-wise. How am I gonna, you know, further my career? I want to support those guys. The company that I work for has a robust benefits program. Part of that benefits program is our employee family assistance, which is great, but it's still a phone number that you call to talk to a stranger. You know, half of the initial battle with the employee family assistance program is communicating the problems that you're facing. And, you know, as nice as those crisis intervention people are and the counselors that are in that employee family assistance program, they don't deal with the shit that we deal with every single day. So it's tough to project and communicate what we feel to those people. So I want to be that guy. I want to be that guy that's available. I want to be that guy that can hop in a truck and go and help my friend or my colleague, my coworker, and let them know, share my experience with them, and point them in the right direction. The industry that we're in is experiencing a very high level of self-harm and suicides relating to work into home. You know, and I literally work for the best and the biggest general contractor in Canada. They are, you know, the best employer. They employ the best people. The manager that I work for is, you know, I would consider him one of my best friends, and he's unbelievably supportive. When I initially came to him before I got admitted to the hospital and said, you know, I've got some issues with depression and anxiety, and he just basically said, you tell me what you need and I'll make sure you get paid while you do what you do. And it, you know, that made me feel fantastic. And no fault to him. It was, you know, it fell onto me to not make the right steps. The steps that I'm talking about is outpatient therapy. I have done some outpatient therapy in the past, but I had some troubles with finding counselors that satisfied the requirements of the benefits program. One, you got to be a master of social work or a registered social worker or a psychiatrist. So to find those people in this climate, in this economy, is really tough. They're all super busy because people are experiencing more and more issues with mental health. So anyways, he's fantastic. My employer's fantastic. But I still feel like we fall short in creating that personal connection when people are in need. So that's what I want to do. I want to try and sneak into that health, safety, and environmental program, but I want to add a mental health aspect to it. So as I get closer to my return to work date, I'm going to reach out and declare my interest into getting into that program and kind of lay out what I want to do differently. And I've always been an extreme mental health advocate. No, that's not it. I've always been very interested in keeping our guys safe. I tell everyone in all of our orientations that I deliver, I'm here to make sure that you guys go home safe. All I want to do is make sure that you guys do not get hurt at work, because when someone gets hurt on our sites, and people do get hurt on our sites because we do a lot of work, we probably have the most robust safety program out of any general contractor in the industry, arguably. But we work tirelessly to continually improve our health, safety, and environmental program to ensure that we're decreasing the incidents that happen on site and trying to get ahead of the incidents that occur on site so they don't occur. Identifying near misses or potential hazards, or instructing our workers on where the hazards are on site and where you're going to find these hazards. So that's what I want to do. I've talked to my wife a little bit about it. Hopefully it's a lateral move. I'd hate to take another pay cut because I don't think we could honestly afford it. My wife's still at home with her son. He's still only 18 months old, and I think we've kind of committed to at least, until he's 2, before we start figuring out childcare, daycare, anything like that, because I felt it was very important to have that first good chunk of time, with his mama. And our kid is fantastic. We just did his 18-month checkup, and he's right on path for all of his growth and development and weight and that sort of thing. So I'm very hesitant to mess with the plan at this point. But that's my interest, and that's what I want to do. So I'm just pulling up here into Vernon. Can't believe we talked for 20 minutes. Hopefully it's not too badly. I'll try to cut it up, put it on the thing, and never know, maybe someone will watch it. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.